Steve Magness opens the book by challenging the traditional image of toughness, the relentless, never-quit warrior who pushes through pain no matter what. He quickly reveals this archetype is not only outdated but often counterproductive. Instead, he offers a fresh perspective grounded in science and real-world examples that toughness is smarter, not just harder. Early in the narrative, Magness shares a vivid story of a champion runner who learned the hard way that pushing harder wasn't always better. After a season of relentless training, she burned out completely, sidelined by injury and exhaustion. This experience becomes a touchstone for the book's argument: true resilience requires balance, not brute force. Magness then delves into the physiology of stress, describing how the body's fight-or-flight system works like a finely tuned orchestra. He explains that pushing too hard for too long can cause the system to collapse, much like a musician playing non-stop without rest. Through accessible storytelling, he makes complex science relatable and engaging. One of the book's standout ideas is the concept of smart toughness, which combines effort with strategic recovery. Magness narrates his own journey as a coach, recounting moments when he had to tell athletes to rest instead of train harder, sometimes facing resistance, but ultimately guiding them toward sustainable performance. Magness challenges the reader to rethink failure. He tells the story of a young soldier in training who failed a critical test. Instead of crushing him, the failure became a pivot point for growth. The soldier learned that vulnerability and adaptability are as important as raw strength, reshaping how Magness defines resilience. The narrative explores mental flexibility as a key to toughness. Magness describes how rigidity often leads to breakdowns, while the ability to adjust and reframe challenges allows people to endure longer and more effectively. He illustrates this with examples from elite military units and business leaders facing volatile situations. At one point, Magness shares a poignant moment with a patient recovering from a serious illness. The patient's breakthrough came not from forcing progress but from accepting limitations and focusing on incremental gains. This story highlights the importance of patience and kindness in the process of building toughness. The book doesn't shy away from the emotional dimension of resilience. Magness writes candidly about moments of doubt, fear, and frustration, both from his own life and those he coaches. He emphasizes that acknowledging these feelings is not weakness but a pathway to deeper strength. Magness introduces practical methods for building this real toughness. These include mindfulness techniques, controlled exposure to discomfort, and cultivating a growth mindset. He weaves these tools into stories of everyday people transforming their approach to stress and challenge. Throughout, Magness emphasizes the role of purpose and meaning in sustaining effort. He recounts how individuals who connect deeply with their why are better equipped to face hardship. This connection provides a fuel that goes beyond physical endurance or mental grit alone. The narrative highlights the dangers of all-or-nothing thinking. Magness describes how extremes often lead to burnout and injury, while moderation and strategic effort build long-term resilience. He contrasts stories of athletes who burned out early with those who thrived by listening to their bodies. Magness also explores the social aspects of toughness. He shares anecdotes about how community support, shared goals, and compassionate leadership enhance resilience. The idea that toughness can be cultivated in relationships challenges the lone warrior stereotype. As the book progresses, Magness guides readers through self-assessment exercises embedded within the narrative, encouraging honest reflection on their current mental and physical limits. These moments invite readers to consider where they might be pushing too hard or not enough. In the closing chapters, Magness presents a holistic model of toughness that integrates body, mind, and environment. He emphasizes that resilience is not static but evolves through cycles of stress and recovery, effort and rest, challenge and reflection. The book concludes on a hopeful note, urging readers to redefine what it means to be tough. Rather than measuring toughness by unyielding force, Magness invites us to embrace complexity, balance, and grace. True resilience, he writes, is not about doing hard things blindly, but doing them wisely.